A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to go work out to get anxiety. No, I go shoe shopping. I have more shoes than my wife and my 2 daughters combined. And my wife always says, you have a problem. She's right, and that's okay. So, we had a couple of problems that we had looked like around the backboard. If there's others we need to see. And for some reason, this computer is going to act a little goofy on me, so I might have to go the old school way and go to the whiteboard. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and restart that now. And I'm going to turn the lights on and I'll work off the problems right here. I just have to move. There we go. Come on, get out. All right, looks like we have problem number 12 to work on. Problem number 12 says, is that m over 3 equals negative 12? So m over 3 is equal to negative 12. So very first thing I'd said to do is we're going to put a vertical line. That's going to represent one side or the other. So this is division right now. What is the opposite function of division? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. And if I do that, those are going to cancel out, leaving me m. So I get m is equal to negative 36. And there's that answer. Is that okay? Problem number 8. Problem number 8 is negative 3 is equal to x over 6. Is it okay to have the x on the other side? What do you think? I mean, they have it written that way, but do you think it's okay? Yeah. I think so. Again, this is a division problem. The opposite operation of division is what? Multiplication. So I'm going to multiply each side by the 6. Vertical line, I'm sorry. Those are going to cancel out, so I'm going to get x is equal to negative 18. So do you think it's okay to leave an answer like this? I don't see why not. I know that there could be teachers later in life always want to have it flip-flop, so x equals negative 18. But it's kind of up to you what your preference is, okay? So don't, if a teacher marks you wrong, I think that's kind of poor on the teacher's part. But every now and then, you get people that are have a little more anxiety, but who knows? So I'm always good with it. Number 13. Number 13 says 15 is equal to 3 over 4x. A little different. So 3/4 is being multiplied times x, and we're getting 15. What do you think?
Are you supposed to multiply the 4 and the 4 together and then 15 times?
Okay.
Or is that something else?
No. So you think, hang on, you might be right. Let's see. So if we eliminate the bottom, if I multiply by 4 and by 4, that's going to get rid of that. I like that.
And then the 3 would be on the bottom, and the 4 times the 15 would be 60.
So you're saying that the 3 could be on the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Like that?
Yep.
And then that would cancel that. Oh, I forgot to put a vertical line. So that's x equals, I'm not done. Is the answer, what should I do with the 4/3 and the 15? Yeah.
I think you should leave 3 as it is, but then multiply 4 and 15 to get 60.
So multiply those together, because that's really that, right?
Mhm.
And that would be 60 over 3.
And then you basically divide 60 over 3, and then you get 20.
So we could reduce. So 20 is equal to x. That work? Do you think 3/4 of the number 20 would be 15? Would that? Yeah. Does anyone know what? You are absolutely right on that. So great job. But what is this called in relation to this? They are flip overs of each other. Yeah.
Reciprocal.
Reciprocal is the appropriate term. Good. So you have a reciprocal that you could use. So if you have a fraction like that, you use the reciprocal, and the reciprocal is just the flip over of the fraction. Reciprocal is used often to find stuff. We will also use something called a negative reciprocal, and that has to do with when we're dealing with slope. And if you wanted to know what a perpendicular slope is, the slope is just a pitch to a line. And a perpendicular slope would be another line that would form two right angles. Okay? So like the wall and the floor are perpendicular to each other. It forms a 90-degree angle. I'll finish up. That was 13, right? Number 14. And then I have to work out 15 as well, right? Number 14 says x minus 3 over 7 is equal to 4 over 7. Thoughts? Yeah.
Would you add 3 over 7 to the other side?
I think that might be a good plan. So vertical line, let's do the opposite of that. And you know what's nice about this is you're adding two fractions together. So I guess you could do my butterfly method, but the butterfly method works best when the denominators are different. Right now the denominators are the same, so should we just add top to top and keep the bottom the same? Okay, so 4 added to 3 is 7, and then the denominator stays the same. And 7 over 7 is the same as what?
1.
Just 1. Question for you. Is it wrong if you leave it as 7 over 7? No, I don't think so. Now, I would say that if it was on a multiple choice test, I probably wouldn't have the answer as 7 over 7. I'd probably have the answer to 1, so please realize what's equivalent. But other than that, should be good. And then there was one that I forgot to work out on our worksheet. We'll work out now. Number 15, right? 15. This is x plus 2 equals 3 over 5, right? So let's start out with, we'll draw our vertical line. What should I do to both sides to start getting x all alone? Subtract 2, I heard? I like it. So x is definitely alone, but we have that now. What? Put over 1? Put that over 1. Do you think my butterfly method could work? All right. So butterfly method when you're subtracting. I'm going to make that a plus sign, make that a negative. Are you still with me? Butterfly method. 3 times 1 is 3, plus negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, over the denominator's 5. So that's going to be, I have $3 in my pocket, something costs $10. Do I owe or get money back?
Oh.
I owe. So this is going to result in negative 7 over 5, and that is equal to x. Can I leave it as an improper fraction, meaning the top number is bigger than the bottom number? I actually would prefer that, just because I know sometimes it's a mixed number, it gets a little goofy sometimes. And that's what we have there. Sound good? All right. From people who have passed away, and they've donated the body to science. I've probably held in my career 80 to 100 human brains. Okay? And that's kind of me. I'm a weirdo like that. I get it. And a lot of times when you're looking at the brain, and I'm looking at our brain, they look really the same. And then some have more wrinkles than others, and some are a little more smooth than others. And I've even sliced them open, and they look very similar in size. But how brains work is a synaptic response, where you get a pathway from here to here. You learned how to add, and you created a pathway from here to here. Now, as you got further in math, some people might have taken this pathway to get to the answer this way, and some might have taken this to get to there. Now, the nice thing is, your brain is working at about the speed of light as far as thoughts go. But sometimes it's like, okay, I got to get to this thought. There's my first step. I have to make sure that's taking place. And you massage that information. And then you're like, got it, go to here. And so for people to say, everyone should get this done at the same time, well, that'd be like me being that PE teacher saying, all right, we're going to go run a mile. Everyone needs to get it done in less than 5 minutes. That's not fair, is it? Because some people might be able to, but others might not. So I apologize for how that has taken place, and I don't know where in that philosophy had taken place, because I know that if you were to work some sort of job and you had a position that someone came to you and said, how long would it take for you to do this? You might tell them it might take this long. And that might be too long to some people. And they might look for someone else to help them, but does that mean that your process was wrong? I don't think so. So again, I don't know where and why that came about. A certain amount of time. I don't know. And I just don't think it's always fair that, someone might have the gift of taking a test quickly, and you might not have that gift, but you have other gifts that that person who takes a test quickly might not have. So I just want to tell you just kind of a brief story, and then we'll go through the notes. And it's a pretty good story. I coached a high school soccer team back in Reno from 1999 to 2005. And when I first took over the program, I took over a program that was completely broken. The previous coach, he was such a jerk. He was mean to kids. I mean, I'm talking real mean. He would say real derogatory comments to kids and really decimated the program. So I go and I start. I'm named the head coach by default because no one else wanted the program, and because I played recreational soccer through 7th grade, I should be the next soccer coach for this high school team. It was a learning curve. I learned a lot. I learned so much about soccer. I knew quite a bit, but I learned a lot of how to break things down. Okay, I know I want this team to get to this point. I want this action to take place, but I knew I had to have earlier skills completed in order for us to get to the real advanced technical stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's just sports in general. So I was having a really hard time because a lot of the kids didn't trust the soccer program because the previous coach to me was a real big jerk. So I didn't have a lot of kids. And I had one of the football coaches. His name was Mark Smith, and he went by the nickname Smitty. And he was a good guy. He taught the community-based severe needs kids. So these are kids that you wouldn't see in a traditional classroom. Community-based basically meant, let's teach these people, these kids that have learning difficulties that are so severe, let's teach them how to just comprehend life. We're going to teach them how to do laundry. We're going to teach them how to cook basic foods. We're going to show them how to ride the buses. Pretty pretty basic things, but basic things that you would need for real life. And most of the kids that would be in this scenario would either have to stay at home for the rest of their lives or live in some sort of group home with other people in this similar fashion. So Smitty came to me and he said, "Hey, I know you're really struggling for players. I have a kid that just wants to really belong to something here at school. You know," and he goes, I don't know how good he'll be for you, but he's got a beautiful heart." I said, "All right." I said, "What's his name?" He goes, "Well, his name's Eddie." I said, "Cool." I said, "Where's Eddie at?" He goes, and he calls out. And Smitty goes, "Eddie, come here." So Eddie comes walking from around the side of the building. I want you to put a visual on this. He was about 6'4". He had hair that just looked like a tumbleweed. It was just like this. Dark, jet black hair. Big brown eyes, just like, oh, you know, I mean, kind eyes. You know, but he just looked, you know, like he grew like 1.5 feet in a year. Like, oh, so other parts of how he's dressed, he's got just a regular t-shirt on. He's got running shorts that look like they came out of the 1970s. These are the ones that have the really high slits like this, like never should have been worn. And he's got volleyball knee pads on, but as shin guards. So he's just a train wreck looking kid. And then he's got a headband on. So he comes out and I'm just like, oh. So I walk over to him. I say, "Hi, Eddie. I'm Coach Stirrup. How you doing?" And he kind of looks off in the distance and then looks back at me. "I'm doing good." Great. So, "Eddie, do you know anything about soccer?" Stares off in the distance. Looks back at me. "You can't use your hands." We're on a roll. It's all right. Well, only a few guys out here. You know, go out there and said, "All right, guys, this is Eddie. Eddie's going to be playing with us. All right, guys, take a couple laps." Well, everyone knows a couple laps is 2, not 8. Now, he's 6'4". He had a stride from about that wall to that wall when he would run. He'd be like, I mean, it was like watching a gazelle run. You're like, holy cow, that kid could move. He ran about 4 laps faster than the guys ran or jogged 2 laps and were stretching. I had to stop the kid so he'd stretch. And you'd watch him, and it's like, okay, here's the drill. We're going to do this. And you'd watch Eddie, and he would like sit there and be thinking about it, and he would drag the ball real slow. And he was going through it, and it was just like, sometimes it was a little painful to watch. And I actually, quite a few times, to keep things moving, is I would create my team's row, and then there would be the skills row for Eddie, which was how I was just trying to get the kid to realize. I mean, if we waited for him on every drill, practice would have been 20 hours. So we got 12 kids on the team now. We go up and we're going to play up in South Tahoe. It's actually a California school, but it's part of the Nevada soccer stuff. And South Tahoe was ranked like number 3 in the United States with soccer. They were like ridiculous. They had 7 or 8 of their players that were already signed Division I college players. So we're playing a college team for the most part. So whistle blows, 7 seconds later, they score. Oh. Whistle blows, we do the kickoff, they steal it. About a minute into the game, it's now 2-0. Man, and I'm just, guys, what's going on? I mean, we suck. So we became the team that day of the coach is pulling his best players off and telling them, okay, you cannot shoot at goal anymore. I need you to do this. And they were making up rules. He's calling out stuff from the sideline. All right, everybody on our side of the field, including who's on the sidelines, has to touch the ball 3 different times with a pass before you can shoot. You'd watch the ball go, don't score. Oh my gosh. My guys are, hey, Coach, they keep kicking the ball. I'm like the Bad News Bears on steroids. I'm like, oh my gosh. Halftime. They're up 14-0 at halftime. And we're talking soccer. I mean, this is individually, each goal counts as 1 point. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm sitting there, I got the guys over there, and I'm like, man, Coach, these guys are good. And I'm thinking, yeah, they are good, but you guys suck. So second half hits. The rules for the second half is their goalie from their goal box was the only one who could shoot the ball on my goal. We lost 17-0. So their goalie put 105 yards goals into the back of my net. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's an hour ride back on the bus back to our school. Sheesh. So I turn around and there's Eddie. He's in our soccer outfit, shin guards on, cleats, all nice and neat. He's got a tear coming down. And you could tell that he had been crying a little bit. I said, Eddie, what happened, man? It's all right. We're going to lose. We got to build something. And he looks at me. He says, Coach, I just wanted to play. Well, I had 12 guys out there. I kept my original 11 in. I never played Eddie. I mean, we lost 17-0. It didn't matter who I put in. But I made a kid who he honestly tried and tried and tried, and his best try was not better than anybody else. He was way worse. And I tell you what, I mean, I already got thumped 17-0, and I have a kid who's a heart of gold who just wanted to be a part of something. Tell me that he just wanted to play. And I didn't play this kid. And I can't tell you why in that first game I didn't play him. It's halftime, we're losing 14-0. Boy, we're going to come back and beat these guys. No, I just didn't play him. I don't know why. So I said, hey, Eddie, I'll tell you what, next game I'll get you in. So the next game we get him in, and I got him playing right midfield or something. And it's quite obvious he has no idea what the heck's going on. And we get beat. We're going to get beat regardless. And then I started realizing, one thing about Eddie is he can run like there is no other. So I realized we're probably going to lose every game this season. And I can probably get this kid who can outrun anybody out there. And I'm going to create a position for him. And any of you know soccer, this is not a real position. I called it PETA. Stood for pain in the ass. Because what I would do is I'd see who their scorer would be. Their main scorer who has come through the line. And I'd go to Eddie and I'd say, Eddie, see number 15 out there? Yeah, coach. Okay. Yeah, that might be the leading scorer at the other team. I said, what I want you to do is I just want you to run step for step with that kid. And he did. I mean, this is not a real position. You don't mark people up in soccer for a full-time position. And that's what Eddie would do. He would following these kids around. And there was a couple times that he would be doing that, and that kid would get subbed off, and all of a sudden you'd see Eddie over at their sideline standing there like, Eddie, oh, hi, coach. Come here. Get back out there. My number 5. Oh, okay, coach. You'd be running around looking for people. Every now and then the ball would drop at Eddie's foot. He'd kind of stare at it now what? But so I decided Eddie could kick the ball pretty well. But there wasn't a whole lot more that was taking place. So I finally decided to tell Eddie, you ever get the ball at your foot, I want you to kick it as hard as you can. I could do that, coach. Cool. So we're playing, this is about the 5th or 6th game of the season. I go out to, Eddie gets the ball, goes right at his foot. He's not looking any direction. He just, boom, scores against us. Puts it in the back of our goal. Daddy! He's like, hey, coach! He always waved to me. I'm like, oh, jeez. He'd come running off. Yeah. Who's our goalie? Vicente. Right. Point to him. Right there. Good. Vicente is our goalie. If that ball ever gets to your foot, I just want you to look up real quick. And if you see Vicente, do nothing. If you look up and you don't see Vicente, kick it as hard as you can. Okay, cool. He no longer scored on us. So we had this kid named Alex on our team. And Alex's mom was a woman who worked in the casino industry that took care of the whales. And this is what a whale is. A whale is somebody who has a marker, basically a loan from the casino of $1 million or more. The facial recognition systems that the casinos use, that Facebook and your photo things will use, the casinos had a long time. They didn't have them for people who were cheating. They had them for, if a whale comes into our casino, we want to make sure that we know it right away, and somebody is right over there, and hey, we have your reservations at the steakhouse tonight, and make sure that the sweetest thing. That was what her job was. She would take care of it. She was a very pretty woman, very intelligent woman, and she used to like to sit right on the sidelines. We didn't have bleachers. We just had fields. And if the sideline was about here, she would sit her chair here. I always warned her. I said, you might want to sit back a little bit from the field. And she would always tell me, no, I'm okay. And I don't think she realized that this ball can come off the field. Well, sure enough, ball goes to Eddie's feet. He looks up, does not see Vicente, but Alex's mom was in his line of sight. But that wasn't Vicente, and he was only about 3 or 4 yards away from her inside the playing field, and he drilled the ball as hard as he could and caught her in the face and knocked out at least 2 teeth and broke her nose. Now, this is a woman whose looks were what was good for her in her industry. Now she's got a broken nose and missing 2 front teeth. And I had a chuckle. I'm sorry, I laughed. So it was the last game of the season. Before I tell you about that, Eddie's dad used to come and he'd stand at the very back corner of the soccer field. He was a retired police officer from Elko, Nevada. He'd sit there smoking cigarettes one after the other. And he never associated with any of the parents, because he knew that his kid wasn't in the same classes. So he'd come up to me from time to time when no one else was around. He'd just tell me, hey, coach, I just want you to know that I appreciate what you're doing for my son. Because, my son, he's never going to be anything more than, a real low custodial person. I understand that. But he got it. He appreciated it. I was doing something for his kid. So last game of the season, we're down in Carson City, Nevada. Okay, this is south of Reno. And we're playing against them. And Carson City has a really good goalie. Like, this goalie was averaging .03 goals against him a game, meaning for every 100 games played, 3 goals would go in on this guy. That's the kind of quality this goalie was. So he was a rock star goalie. So we're losing like 7-0. Didn't make double digits, so this was a win for us. So all of a sudden, one of my players named Abner Valenzuela is coming down the left side, full speed, got the ball. Eddie's kind of standing there in the middle of the field doing this. And the kid he was marking up, being a PETA too, had gotten subbed off, and Eddie didn't realize it. And Eddie was a little lost. So here comes Abner. Lightning speed. I look up, I see Eddie. I was like, Eddie! Hey, coach! It's like comedy act. And I'm like, run! "Okay, coach," and starts running. Abner turns the ball, crosses it, and drops it right at Eddie's foot. You see him look down. You see him look up. It's not Vicente. Boom! Scored. I got a yellow card against me for excessive celebration. Because I ran out on the field and tackled Eddie, cheering and screaming. The rest of my team, the whole bench cleared. We get carded for excessive celebration. And of course, Carson's coach is looking at me going, "Look at the scoreboard, you moron." Yeah, it's 7-1. But Eddie scored. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. Now, Eddie didn't play for us much longer after that. He'd gotten done. I lettered him with a varsity letter. He'd be walking across campus. He's got a soccer patch here, W for Wooster High School, and he'd be strutting across campus with his scarlet and white jacket on, as proud as they came. Look at me. I'm a varsity soccer player. So, my last year there, we had, of our 15 regular season games, we won 13 of them and tied 2 of them. We are number 1 in the state. We are the team that is looking to take the state title. Eddie's no longer playing. He's gone. He's graduated or moved on or wherever. We are in the semifinal game. We are playing a team that 3 weeks earlier we beat 8-0. We had got this game. It's halftime. It's 0 still. 0-0. I'm thinking, what in the heck is going on? We lost in the last 45 seconds of the game. They had a great breakaway. Did a great cutback. Went through my defense. And they scored, so we were eliminated. And I'm like, man, we were this close, being 1 game away from being in the state title game. I got my head down. One of the kids that had played on Eddie's team named Chris Toner, Polynesian kid, great kid, love this guy. I'm just walking off the field, and Chris had come to the game. He was so excited because that was the team he played on. Now we're winning big. He puts his arm on my shoulder. He says, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, Chris." "Coach, don't worry about that loss." I said, "Yeah, we were so close." He goes, because you were on a team. You were the coach of the team that Eddie scored on. You're right. I had a kid that was a severe needs, special needs kid who scored in a soccer game. And what Chris and another kid named Dustin and a couple of the other former players that had showed up that were in college then, they were like, "Remember when Eddie scored, Coach?" Yeah, I do. I remember when Eddie scored. I remember getting carded. I remember getting carded because we had excessive celebration. You would have thought we won World Cup soccer. That's how we were celebration, because we realized that there was this kid who was a special needs kid who scored. And that was cool. Right before I moved out to Colorado, I was out for a run around the Sparks Marina, which was a gravel pit that filled up with water, and they decided, let's make it a park. So I'm out for a run, and all of a sudden, next to me, running, is Eddie. I look over and, "Hey, Eddie, how you doing?" "Hey, Coach." "Doing well." "Fishing." "Oh, good." I'm thinking, you're fishing in this gravel pit? Okay. "Is everything else going away?" "Yeah." And then he does that distance, look off in the distance, stare. He looks back at me and goes, "Remember when I scored, Coach?" I do. So that should give you a little heads up about what I'm looking at in life. which is a little bit different than other people. And my advice to you is look for the gifts that people offer. Don't look at what they can offer. Is that an alright story?
Yeah.
Alright, I can get through this pretty quick. Ready? You don't need to warm up on that. You know how to do that. Order of operations, right? The inverse of addition is?
Subtraction.
Okay. The inverse of subtraction is? Addition. Okay. The inverse of multiplication is? Division. The dividing a number is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Good. 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 When we solve an equation, our goal is to answer it. Pretty close. I like it. Yeah. Find out what the variable. The variable is the letter, right? Does that make sense? So we want to isolate the variable. Is it okay if the variable is on the right side versus the left side? Doesn't matter at all. Okay. So this one, let's take a look at this. Let's go here. I'm going to draw a line down. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And then I have 3x is equal to 6. So I have 2 steps I have to do here. Then what should I do? Divide by 3. So x is equal to 2 on this. Okay, so on a 2-step equation, you want to do the addition or subtraction as the first part, and then you want to multiply and divide as the second part to solve it. Okay? This example 2, I have 12 is equal to y over 3 plus 3. Okay, so I'm going to put that line there. First step is I'm going to subtract 3. And that's going to give me 9 is equal to y over 3. What should we do from there? Multiply by 3, yeah. So we get 27 is equal to y. Verify the answer, plug that in, it'll work. Okay? So I think that is as far as I want to go with the notes. And I think, let's do this. So worksheet 4A. Worksheet 4A. Let's have 1 through 9 due, 1 through 9 on 4A due at the start of class. And I just want you to try it. And then we have a quiz tomorrow. But then after the quiz, we will proceed a little bit further with that. But I think if you do try 1 through 9, just try them. Try them as best you can for tomorrow. And then we have a quiz tomorrow. But the quiz tomorrow is not going to have 2-step equations on it. The most you'll have is 1 step like we've done. Okay? Sound good? You are allowed to use calculators on the quiz tomorrow. Got it?
Yeah.
I got the story of Eddie recorded on there if you want to re-listen to it or share with anybody. But